not drinking beer. I'm drinking water.
2 touchdowns a game?
Yes, in the game.
You're tripping.
How you high? No,
Greatest fucking Super Bowl time.
I don't know what we're doing in that front office, man.
Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Her upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches in the
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode 200. We should not start a 200 episode any other way than how the show normally starts. I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
And I am your other co-host, Malin Dennis.
And I'm your other great co-host, Nestor.
And our first half guest, yet again, Mr. June Bucks Fade. What's up, June?
What's up, fellas?
We are happy to have you here for yet another week, and benchmark week too, because we are proud to have hit the 200 mark. The show is just about 4 years old. Like, it started September 2020, so yeah, it's pretty crazy. But let's open up the show like we normally do. We are going to do a little unboxing live on camera. So you guys want to give us 60 seconds?
Ain't even ready. And while you're opening up that 4-row small
share
why does Nesta look like? Why does Nesta look like he's a part of some early release jail sentence here? Like what's going on with this? Why does it look like he just got sprung? He took him to TJ Maxx and got him a T-shirt.
He just got out of jail in Dade County, and they just gave him
TJ Maxx. It's fire.
What are you guys drinking today?
Nestor's just sitting there looking like he's happy to be alive and out of captivity. That's what
I'm
Nestor
happy to be alive.
That man is free. He is free, people.
ASMR?
All right, so I opened up one of my last few bottles of Jack Daniel's number 27 Gold, and I'm smoking the Rocky Patel LB1, both in commemorating 200 episodes.
We are,
what about you, June?
This is some Jose Silva.
So they're drinking Sarasota.
Oh, native.
Bit of a Colombian population up there.
It's the local drink over there. Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers, 200. And God willing, 200 more. If these Cowboys fans would just calm the hell down.
We don't take CD slander, sir. Just don't do it.
Yeah, CDs used to be popular in the 90s too.
That was an extra burn.
Folks, if you are not aware, we do live stream the show every Wednesday night, right around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to click the first link down in your podcast description below, that will take you to the YouTube version of this episode. You get the replay. If you come on back next Wednesday at 9:30, then you can watch us live. You can participate in the conversation as it happens. And make sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. That way you can keep up with all of the stuff that we're doing here on this great channel for the next 200 episodes. And with that being said, we're doing something a little different for the first topic of this week's show. Seeing that we're hitting the 200 mark, I gathered everybody's favorite moments from the last 100 episodes and made it's about a 7.5 minute long video of some of our favorite moments.
I don't have access to join again now.
I haven't started it yet. It should be in just a minute here, though. But yeah, it's going to be played on screen so that we can all watch at the same time, hopefully. Now, folks, this is technology at its finest, so you're in for a real treat.
Colin Farrell whipping his son.
Okay, let me know if you guys can see this.
I can see it. Is that the episode 1 of the studio?
Yes, sir.
Oh my god, that's crazy. All right, it's paused though.
Yes, I just want to make sure we were
Okay.
all good. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna start this from the top. Again, it's about 7.5 minutes, and this is up on our channel now. So if you don't watch it, or if you want to watch it again or whatever, you can go back and watch this again. But here's the favorite moments from the last 100 episodes. And I cannot hear a damn thing.
I can hear it.
You guys can
I
hear?
can hear it. I can hear it.
That's odd. All right, sorry. I'm gonna restart it. I have an idea. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I think I know
Now,
why
look at
that
that.
is.
Look at it. Look at that forehead.
That's not what I meant to do. Okay.
Didn't even need to spend all that money on that background with that big ass stuff.
I still can't hear. That's the weirdest thing. Yes, sir. I'm just pull it up here. Yeah, we're on the same wavelength.
Sounds so sad. Oh shit. He was missing shit on purpose.
I don't know what point that Kansas City got to being this bad on defense. You know,
Oh, is this where he falls?
hate on
Where he falls? He's trying to get up. And bam.
You getting paid a lot for going over there?
Towing corn.
You go to Taiwan, bring your soldering iron.
Oh man, I missed that old setup I had.
They asked him to bring a soldering iron.
I think it's disrespectful for the TV we made.
Oh god.
I've been working like off like that to really be paying attention to what's going on in the process. But I try my best to. There's a wonderful gentleman named Sergio Garcia. I don't know who you work with.
Is that your dark horse?
I don't know his name.
Okay, so that's two dark horses.
Two dark
Man, look at that, Jalen. At a time I was plus 13 on your ass on Ride or Die 5. That was a minute ago.
If the main pick gets 1 point, the dark horse gets 2. This man picked the 3,500 for the dark horse. And 15,000.
It's not about it's not about Sergio Garcia.
This man went El Nino.
I would pick Tiger Woods, but Siwoo Kim is Japanese, so
I don't try to explain it to yours.
Him.
This is short.
It's Minwoo Lee.
Siwoo Camp and Minwoo Lee. Shit.
G-Money. Sleeper picks were compared to mine. Sleeper pick was I picked Siwoo Camp.
That's a different.
Oh God. Oh, that's with the Mickey that wanted to rape us. Look at him.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. How many times did I call Shaq a dumb motherfucker on that show?
I think Jimmy Butler's 1-1. And Hero has 1-1.
What is happening?
Yes. 3.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Esther is right.
This is why we avoid trivia.
Oh God.
You just said 3 because I said 2 because I was wrong. He would not have said 3 if he said that. You don't have to answer.
That was what a shit show.
Everyone gets fucking answers because they can just add from 1 to 2 reasons. You have had the same opportunities. That's how I got this one.
I guess this is what shouts out first.
Oh God.
Not gonna count.
Say whatever. Whoever shouts out first.
Do I finish the question? Because I know what you're gonna ask. But do you have to finish the question? Ooh, yes. I'm gonna say right now.
What?
We're not gonna ask that. I want to hear it when someone gets a point from this.
Just don't ask it. Just ask Shaq his own dumbass question. He's gonna get wrong. Go ahead.
Just Shaq.
Give him a true or false.
Question number 8.
Give him a true or false. Is Miami's team named the Heat? Just ask.
They're gonna beat Miami's Ice. Number 8. This is a 2-parter again. Shaq. Who is leading the Heat playoff points?
How is it?
This is correct. That's 1 point. Shaq's way. He literally asked the question 2 seconds ago.
Oh, attention.
I gotta make sure.
I hate that man.
Hey, because he asked a question so
It takes Shaq less time to slide into people's DMs than it does for him to
Oh
try to
God.
answer questions on this godforsaken show.
Why does he get the easiest fucking questions?
was Shaq.
Because he's retarded.
He's stupid.
That's pretty versatile. That's pretty versatile.
Is that the end of it?
That was it.
God
man.
damn.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, we've had some interesting times.
Yes, we've had no shortage of interesting times. That's the best way of putting it.
You remember the episode at my house when you did the wide receiver trivia,
Yes, I do remember that.
and we drank damn near an entire bottle of Don Julio.
Yeah, that was when G Money bought that.
Yeah,
1942.
Don Julio, 1942. Yeah, damn.
Ooh.
That was interesting.
Yeah, there was like an inch left in the bottom of the bottle.
Ooh.
Oh, we were great. We were doing great.
Yes, that was a great night. Anything else that stands out to you guys from the last 100 shows? before we hop into the record predictions?
A couple things that stand out to me is that I don't know. Sometimes, like, how do you forget how big the moon is? Yet I was able to forget how big Shaq's forehead was. Like that is a big ass thing. And like he's on TikTok, and every time I go on TikTok, it says that he's live on TikTok. And lately, it started asking me, do I want to talk to them? I don't know if TikTok has finally figured out how big his head is and they're pluralizing his shit. If he's changed his pronouns or not. But his head's as big as like 3 people. But
That it is.
he probably had a twin and his head just ate it and it's just dead inside his head right now. Probably.
All right. Let's move on to our NFC East predictions. NFC East, boys. This is always more of a drama show than anything else, I will say.
Oh, yeah.
But it's that time of the year where we go ahead and pick the NFC East. So, what we're going to do, if you're new to the show, it's pretty self-explanatory. We just go through each team's schedule and we predict how many wins and losses they're going to finish with by the end of the season. And if you want to point out any noteworthy games, we always go in order that the division finished in last year. So we're going to start with Dallas first and then end with Washington. So, June, you can start us off with your own team. What are the Cowboys doing?
I am a Cowboys fan, true and true. I will never steer you wrong on the Cowboys. Sometimes. But the Cowboys last few years, I mean, they've been 12-5, 12-5, and 12-5. They're a pretty good team. I mean, most teams would call that a banner time, but we haven't made it past the 12-5. And it's kind of sad. And then with all the turmoil going on and the CD and to pay your quarterback. I mean, I still think we got a great team. We have a great team. The Cowboys still a top 5 team in the NFC. Easily top 5 team in the NFC. Easily. With that said, I got the Cowboys going 15-2.
June.
This man. Go ahead.
I got them go. Okay, listen. I got them 13-4. I do have them 13-4. Okay.
Okay.
They're a good team. This is a very good team, and they have a decent schedule. I keep hearing people with their predictions saying they're going to lose to the Browns the first game. Does anybody really think Deshaun Watson is that big a threat, even at home, against a defense that just gets after the quarterback the entire game? Seeing what he does under pressure. Deshaun Watson isn't good under pressure. He throws picks, or he fumbles, or he throws the ball into the ground. Or if he can't take off and run, that's it. I mean, he's bottled up and he just goes down. So I don't see that game as a threat. Now, we do play the Ravens at home. I do got that as one of their losses. I think Lamar can come in and get a win, but that game can go either way. They got the Lions coming in. Not worried about the Lions. They got to go back out to the 49ers for the 3rd year in a row, which I think is horse shit. A couple of interesting games. Bengals coming into town. It's going to be a very interesting game. But in the season, though, they get kind of a reprieve where they go to the Panthers. They got the Buccaneers coming in. They go to the Eagles, and then they end with the Commanders. And if the Cowboys are fighting for the division at that time, they could either go 4-0 or 3-1 at the time. So I got them going 13-4. The rest of their schedule for me isn't that tough. I mean, you got the Texans on there. They got to go to Dallas. They got to go to the Falcons, but I think the Cowboys are good enough to go get the road win against the Falcons. They beat Kirk Cousins plenty of times in Minnesota. I mean, hell, we had to play Minnesota 3 times in a row a couple of years ago, and he beat them at home 3 times in a row with a backup quarterback one of those times. I'm not worried about Minnesota as a team. And then they play the Saints. We already know what the Saints going to be. They play the Steelers at the Steelers. That's going to be a very interesting game. But the Cowboys, I mean, with the Lions and the 49ers playing those two teams back-to-back weeks. Well, actually, it's about a week in between, but the Cowboys got a good chance of going 13-4 and winning this division outright. So,
Go ahead, Malin.
Man, this division's always a hoot. Man, it is. This is like the NFL version of the Kardashians on reality TV. Like, they're famous because of things that they did a long time ago, or maybe who their dad were, or other stuff like that. But they ain't done nothing recently, except the Eagles, which is lose the Super Bowl. I do agree with June. Cowboys are a very good regular season team right now. Yeah, I don't agree with him just bypassing the Lions, a team that just went to the NFC Championship game. But I still have them going 12-5. I don't see them having an issue with Cleveland. I don't think Chubb is going to be back yet. If he is, that's his first game back. They're not going to be running him in the preseason. Deshaun Watson is, 3 years removed of massages. He's brittle. He's old. The Deshaun Watson that played for the Texans is no longer there. That ship has sailed. New Orleans, you guys are going to beat Eyebrow Carr. Probably lose to Baltimore. You'll beat the Giants. You'll probably beat Pittsburgh. I do have you losing to the Lions, though, just because I do think that offense is pretty electric. And the Cowboys do have a history of losing games they should win, even if they're favored. Like if it's a big game in the regular season, they'll win some of them, they'll lose some of them. So I kind of win all these big games that they have against like playoff teams. I kind of split those up 500.
yeah.
Because they usually win half and they lose half, but they also end up winning the games they should. Like they're gonna rack up 4 wins against Washington and the Giants easily. They'll beat Philly one time. I don't know if they'll beat Philly both times. So I mean that's 5 wins right there. Then you just got to find 7 more. And with the likes of Atlanta and Pittsburgh and New Orleans and Tampa and Carolina, I mean, good God, Burrow is probably going to be hurt by week 14. So that Cincy game is looking pretty good for him too. They'll get 12 games. They'll be a top 3 seed in the NFC. They're going to win the division. I think they're talented enough. Whether or not this is the last year that we see McCarthy and Dak Prescott wearing the Cowboys star remains to be seen. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not McCarthy would come back or even Dak would come back. I mean, the fact that you got Dak and CeeDee Lamb both looking for contracts and neither of them have a contract right now. It's like the Cowboys are under a wait and see on who we want to pay. With CeeDee Lamb not being a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, and Dak not being a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, I could see why you don't want to give them all that top money. But I know. June just I don't take some Pepto, man. The truth hurts sometimes. But Dak plays like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL during the regular season. He plays like a top 20 quarterback in the NFL in the playoffs. CeeDee Lamb has had one good year that would put him in the upper echelon as being a wide receiver. One top 5 upper echelon season. I'm sorry, guys, but that's just a fact. That's just a fact. And so he's got to do that again for the Cowboys to want to give him that money. So you got 2 players in Dak and CeeDee Lamb that are going to want to show out because they want that bag. And so that's just an extra incentive on why they're going to win 12 or 13 games.
Yeah, I've got them also at 12-5, which is just seems like this Dallas team, this iteration of the Cowboys as of late, they just are a very 12-5 type of football team. They've got plenty of regular season success.
It's a new.
I think Malin, you summed it up really well. You said regular season Dak is a top 5 quarterback. Like last year, he was getting MVP. His name was always in the MVP conversation last year, and then late in the season came around and other people came through and Dak kind of faded out. But that seems to always be the case with them. But first half of their season, I think is, at least before the bye week, is very easy for them. The only two tough games are really just Baltimore and Detroit. I'm sure the Steelers will put up a good fight, but I can't see the Steelers actually beating them. So I've only got them losing 2 games, which is Baltimore and Detroit in the first pre-bye week. And then the second half, a couple more losses kick in. But I actually do have them winning in San Francisco, Drew. And so that's because I'm still in the assumption that San Francisco is going to be beat up during that time of the year. Besides that, they've got, another fair share of kind of easier games in there. Like, they've still got their Commander games in the second half of the season. They play the Giants on Thanksgiving in Jerry's World. That's going to be another snooze fest on Thanksgiving. So there's that. But yeah, I say 12-5. They'll get right back to the playoffs again, and we'll see what happens.
See what happens.
See what happens. Wait and see.
You could go right ahead, mister.
I got them at 11-6. I've got zero hate on this team. It's just that I think last season we compared them to Miami, not in terms of they're kind of like they have the talent and you're just wondering when everything's going to come together, instead of losing those important games that you have to win. So I'm not exactly sure what is, because they seem to have a good defense. They seem to, CD Lamb is a baller. Dak Prescott during regular season is as you said, he's in the MVP conversation. So if they can just bring this all together into the playoffs, they can make something happen. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure if it's the coaching or if it's something else, maybe the mentality walking into the playoffs. But I got them at 11-6. I got them losing that first game against Cleveland because I feel like the media is gonna start, rambling, and it's gonna love that, and it's just gonna be that first week just getting warmed up. That's all there is. And Cleveland is gonna upset a few teams. So other than that,
yeah, maybe they use it as like their motivation. Like if these contracts still don't get worked out by then, right, and then they lose week 1, and then there's ESPN runs wild with it,
right,
and then that motivates them to get their rear in gear. But whatever. Let's go to the next team here with the Eagles. June, you can go ahead.
All right, the Eagles. I got the Eagles at 11-6 this season, and I think that's because they got a new. You're bringing in Barkley. You're bringing in a new offensive coordinator for Jalen Hurts, and Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts do not fit. They just don't fit. Kellen Moore is a guy who likes to throw the ball a lot. We all know that Jalen Hurts' strong suit. He's not a 25, 35, 40 drop back, throw the ball guy. He's just not that guy. He needs that running game. He's got to be able to run the ball. And Kellen Moore is just not a fit with this team. I didn't understand this. So I think what's going to happen is I think they're still going to be a very good team because they're still going to have still a good defense. But I think it's going to take Jalen Hurts a couple of weeks to get used to this offense that Kellen Moore is going to bring in. Because their head coach is not interested in offense. We know that. We know that for a fact. So he's going to come in. He's going to let Kellen Moore run everything. So we may see Jalen Hurts play a little bit during the preseason just to get used to this new offense that he's going to be in. And I think the first 5 weeks, which it's not a problem, they got the Packers coming in, which for all intent and purpose, it's going to be a pretty tough game. That's going to be a tough game for them. Packers are feeling themselves right now. I still don't like what they did in the offseason, but they could come in and sneak a win against Philly in that game. But the first 5 weeks, you look at, they got Packers, they got Falcons, they got Saints, they got Buccaneers, and they got the Browns. they can get on a little roll, and Jalen Hurts can get used to this new offense. But I think it's going to be a learning curve, and I think once he go up against better defenses, I think they're going to kind of shut him down. I mean, kind of what you saw Kellen Moore's offenses when he was in Dallas, when he was in with the Chargers, his offenses get shut down by better teams. So I think that's why it's going to take a learning curve for Jalen Hurts to get this offense down, and that's why I only got him at 11-6 because I think it's going to be tough for them to beat the better defenses in the NFL.
Malin.
I have a hard time finding. I had a hard time finding 9 wins on the schedule for them. For a couple reasons. One, when I asked this on the question on the Eagles video that we put on social media, like who would Eagles fans rather have right now, Saquon Barkley or Jason Kelsey? You got either your center that was pivotal in the tush push or the brotherly shove, which we don't know how effective that's going to be. And you got Saquon Barkley that, he had one healthy season in the last 3? I mean, he was hurt pretty early last year. He's ranked in the mid-90s on Madden. I know that. He's great when he's healthy. So, like, on paper, when you look at a Jalen Hurts, a Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, that seems pretty potent, but that offensive line has a lot of questions now. Offensive coordinator has a lot of questions. That team was not the same as the Super Bowl run they had 2 years ago because they had different offensive and defensive coordinators. Neither side of the ball performed up to the way that they had before. And so when I'm looking at their schedule, to me, a Green Bay is not a guaranteed win. Hell, to me, even Atlanta in week 2 is not a guaranteed win with Kirk Cousins in that offense. They'll beat New Orleans, but I think even Tampa could give Philly trouble. And I can say that because, Jalen, we were there last year. We were there last year at that playoff game, and we saw that Philadelphia Eagles offense have no answers for that Tampa defense. And Baker was bacon, okay, in that game. And so if you allow Baker to bake, you let him put that chef hat on, that's a bad sign. That's not a sign of a good team. Cleveland, I think, could give them some troubles. Yeah, they'll beat up on the Giants, probably Jacksonville, Washington, Carolina. But some of these other teams that are like the 50-50 ones where they could go either way, like the Rams. If the Rams are healthy in Week 12, I think the Rams are a better team than Philly right now. So I had a hard time getting the 9. I got to 9. Because of Week 18 when they play the Giants again, and I have zero faith in Daniel Jones. But I mean, I think even by Week 16 at Washington, I think Washington beats Philly. I think McDaniels is going to be cooking. I think that offensive coordinator, I forget his name. He was a quarterbacks coach for the Seahawks. He was the Bucs offensive coordinator last year.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Kingsbury? Is Cliff Kingsbury? That's offensive coordinator?
No.
No.
Sorry. Kingsbury
I forget his name, but he was a quarterbacks coach. He was with Carroll for like 5 years, and he went to Tampa last year, and he was the offensive coordinator. And Baker did really well. He's a good-looking guy, I know that. I wish I looked like him. I'll just say that. And I think that offense in Washington is going to be a little bit better. We'll talk about Washington later. But yeah, I think 9 wins is generous. You got the report out now about Hurts and Sirianni having to disconnect. Like, there's just drama in Philly before the year even started, and I feel like it's been festering since the middle of last year, and it's just now starting to come out.
Right.
And so there's just, I don't know. It's not that Super Bowl hangover, I think, is going to be hanging over a little bit longer in Philly.
Yeah, it is.
I was able to get them to double-digit wins at 10-7, but I guess we'll see once we get the rest of the NFC out of the way if that's worthy of a playoff spot. I'm going to doubt it, seeing what comes out of the NFC West. But anyway, yeah, I think kind of towards the end of last year, like going into the off season, pretty much all of us were on the same wavelength that kind of call this team a bunch of frauds. Like, they are not
Yeah.
what
Oh.
they seem to be. And hey, just because the summer's starting to pass by, I think we're probably still on that same wavelength that we know that they got Barkley, but Kelsey's gone. Jalen Hurts is still Jalen Hurts. Sirianni is still Sirianni. And I just don't, I really don't see it. Like, they've got some easy games in here that I think they'll win, but like Malin said, there's a lot of 50-50 ones. Like Cleveland, I can see them losing that.
I mean,
Pittsburgh, I can see them losing that.
in my opinion, like they could be a Saquon Barkley injury away from winning just 6 games.
Yeah.
You put because they don't got Swift no more, man. Gainwell is your second running back. They only had like 84 touches last year. Is that really who's going to, like, Jalen Hurts needs a balanced offense. Last year he threw 15 interceptions, only 23 touchdowns. I mean, that's not counting the rushing touchdowns he had, but again, that tush push is not going to be the same, I don't think, without Jason Kelsey. So that offense is going to have to it's going to have to change. So, I mean, if Saquon Barkley gets hurt early on, you could be looking at like a 6 or 7 win team.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Nestor.
I got them at 11-6. I think they just have a few home games where they can benefit from the fact they're going to be at home. Yeah, they're not very trustworthy right now. They're not looking like it. As Malin said, I don't trust Saquon lasting the whole season. You could potentially get hurt, and once that happens, Gainwell isn't a great option. But like I said, looking at their schedule, I think they'll benefit a lot from playing a lot of these games at home, and that's their strong suit there. So for me, 11-6. If they had a tougher schedule, especially tough games away, or some of these 50-50 games away, then I'd have them winning a lot less games. But yeah.
Right. Another thing I want to say about them is you go back to the whole Barkley thing. He's playing up against the same defenses that he's been playing the last few years, and it hasn't worked out well for him. That's why I was surprised when he signed with a team within the division. The Cowboys defense they know what you're going to do. You're not going to fool the Cowboys defense. They know your offensive coordinator. They know what your quarterback's going to do, and they know you. So, so that's a bad combination for him. Dan Quinn knows what Barkley is going to do because he's played it. He's coached against it the last 3 years. And then you got the Giants know what they're going to do because they coached them the last 3 years. Why would you go to a team in your division with a brand new offensive coordinator against 3 defenses that could possibly end up in the top 10? I mean, seriously.
I can tell you why. He got a little bit of Richard Sherman in him. He did like, the Seahawks don't want me right now. I'll just go to the Niners. And Saquon's like, the Giants don't want to give me that payday. They don't want to give me that back. Okay, I'll go to one of the better teams in the division and face you guys twice. Like he wanted to face them twice a year with a good chance of beating them, and he got that bag.
All right, let's go up to Washington, and we will start off with June.
Oh, is it the Giants or Washington? Giants had the better record last year, right?
Yeah, Giants.
Giants, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got the Giants at pretty much the same as last year. I got them at 6-11. I mean, that's the record they had last year. I think they're pretty much going to be about the same. They're going to eke out a few wins, throughout the season. They start off with the Vikings, which I think they can actually win that game. They're playing at home. I think they can win that game. The next 4 games, though, next 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, I don't see a win in their next 7 games. I was looking at it earlier. They got to go to the Commanders. I think they lose that because I don't think they're a very good road team. They got to go to the Browns. They got the Cowboys going to come in. Then they got to go across the country to Seattle. I saw some people said, "Oh, Seattle can't win that game." I'm like, Giants ain't going across the country and winning that game against Seattle.
When was
Then
the
they
last
got
time
the
the Giants
Bengals
beat
coming
Seattle?
in. Exactly. They got the Bengals coming in. They got the Eagles coming in, the Steelers, and then the Commanders again. So, I, I mean, those next 7 games after the first game of the season, maybe they can eke out possible one win out of that group. But other than that, I don't know. I don't see the Giants. Like I said, I got them at 6-11, and they got a couple of easy games coming up near the back half of the season that they can possibly win. But other than that, they're going to be picking in the top 10 again this season. To not want to keep Saquon Barkley and to keep Daniel Jones when you had a bunch of guys that was in the draft that you possibly could have traded Daniel Jones to a team, for a package deal for a couple of, get a couple of extra draft picks, and you was picking in the top 10 anyway, and you could have picked one of those quarterbacks that was right there. Maybe they could have picked, the quarterback from Washington. You know what I mean? Maybe they could have picked him because I think they picked before Atlanta. So this was your chance to say, trade away Daniel Jones, cut him, do what you got to do, but keep Barkley. Keep Barkley, get rid of Daniel Jones, but you didn't. So I think this team is going to be perpetually picking in the top 10 for the next couple of years.
Yeah, go ahead, Malin.
Yeah, I got 5 wins. And the only reason why I got 5 wins is because, listen, Daniel Jones is not starting 17 games for these New York Giants. Drew Lock is going to be starting at some point for this team. I would love for Tommy Colcutt's DeVito to get a whole half a season with this squad. I would love to see what he could do with Malik Neighbors. But I've heard lots of Giants fans on social media like, oh, we got Malik Neighbors now. Oh, we on the rise. We doing this. Okay, listen, we've seen this before. We've seen Eli Manning with Odell Beckham Jr. Like, how did that work out? Like, Odell was a better wide receiver coming out of LSU than Malik Neighbors is, in my opinion. Okay. And I know that Daniel Jones is. I swear to God, he's a clone baby from him and Eli and Peyton. But it's like. I don't know. It's like a runoff or a spinoff of a series with similar characters that are supposed to, be the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes to Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors, now I'm a big believer in Malik Neighbors. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL.
Yeah.
But he's got to get away from Daniel Jones first. And I do think that Drew Lock's going to throw some picks. He could also be really electrifying with Malik Neighbors. I've seen that man just throw the rock like he's got a cannon. He's not the most accurate guy in the world, but when you got someone like Malik Neighbors, it's like Eli Manning and Odell Beckham. You just put it in the vicinity. That man gonna come down with the ball. So I got him with 5 wins. There any of like the teams that were playoff teams or near the playoffs, they're losing all those. They're definitely gonna have to beat up on the like Minnesota and Washington. Those are 2 of their wins because Washington isn't going to have it figured out yet. And what are we doing with Minnesota? What the hell is going on in Minnesota right now? So yeah, maybe they beat New Orleans and Atlanta at the end of the year, but I don't even have them beating Indianapolis in week 17 or Philly in week 18. Yeah. I'm the same with June. They're going to lose 7 in a row. Giants fans are going to be calling for people's heads, and I feel bad because the coach is good. I think he's a good coach. If he could turn Josh Allen into a Pro Bowler, you're a good coach. Just how bad is Daniel Jones that he hasn't been able to replicate the success that he did with Josh Allen? So 5 wins. Punk ass Giants fans, and the ugly ass uniform that they're bringing out this year. That's an automatic.
Oh my God! What the hell?
I don't know what week that is, but it should be a forfeit. The league shouldn't even let them take the field in that godforsaken thing.
I think no. And Malin, that's their uniform for the season. That's their main uniform.
They're only playing it one game. They're only playing it one game. They also are bringing back their '80s Giants uniforms for one game.
Okay,
They're bringing those
those
back
are
for one
nice.
game too. That's probably going to be a win. Okay, let Lawrence Taylor take some crack and hit the field. He gets some tackles. But whatever
Okay.
game that they play at the end of the year, sometime in November, where they roll out that winged helmet bullshit with all the stripes and blocks, and then trying to be like the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you're high. Yeah, that's going to be an L.
I've got this team at a lowly 4 wins. Sorry, Giants fans, but this team is just dog water. I tried to find some more wins in here. I really did. But there's nothing happening here. Daniel Jones, they are tied to a bad quarterback. I don't know why this time last year where they gave him all that money and then that causes Saquon drama, and now he's gone entirely. So they're tied to him for the long run now, and he didn't even play most of last year, and I don't think it's going to make much of a difference whether he plays or not because he's just not good, and it's a damn shame that they got Malik Neighbors because that dude's a stud, and they're going to target him a lot. He should get the majority of the targets out of all the receivers. You would sure hope so. Which makes me think that he should also be a good fantasy receiver, but Daniel Jones is just so bad that he's not going to give him the ball when he needs it. And it's just a damn shame that there's just nothing going on in New York right now. And Daniel Jones is getting all the preseason training camp fights he wants to with the Detroit Lions. Ain't going to make a difference because when the actual season starts, all that tough guy shit is going down the drain. So,
he had those big ass helmets.
I know it was nice for the Giants fans to see
Shit just looks
at camp, but yeah,
The
they're
fact that
only
you can wear those caps in the season now.
the only 4 wins I've got them are Week 7 at home against Philly, Week 9 at home against Washington, Week 12 at home against Tampa. Sorry, Tampa, and then Week 14 at home against the Saints. That's it. Nestor, you are up.
That's probably right.
I got them at 5 and 12. That's being generous. Yeah, I feel bad. Same thing. Feel bad for Malik Neighbors. He went to the wrong New York. If that's a thing. Because at least, Buffalo has, who is it, Keon Coleman? He's going to be happy over there because he's got Josh Allen. But this guy, he has Daniel Jones and then Drew Lock, because who knows if Daniel Jones is going to play the whole season. Like, I don't have much hope for him. Some people think he was MVP bound a few seasons ago.
Some would say.
Some would say.
Tommy Colcuts, man. Come on, Tommy.
That meme ended
Hey,
last
you know
season.
what? I think DeVito should start wearing number 44. Just build off of that one meme with the number 44. Get the cold cuts. Come on, I know you guys seen the video. I know you've seen the video.
Yeah.
I know you've seen it. Come on, I know you have. He should be number 44.
Let's round this out with Washington. Go ahead, June.
Oh yeah.
I got the Commanders. Gotta admit, the first time when I first did, I always do this twice in a day when I'm doing it. And first time I had them at 2 and 15.
Damn.
And I was like, nah, that's I'm not gonna do it like that. But I'm not gonna do it like that. I got them making it to 5.
4 in the morning.
I think they can. I think this team can make it to 5 wins. I think Dan Quinn is good enough defensively where he can scheme a couple of, and they can steal a couple of wins, especially late in the season. But the thing that's going to kill them this season, number one, you have a new quarterback, you have a new head coach, who's also your DC, and you got a new offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury, which I don't know how that relationship between Kingsbury and Quinn is going to work, because I don't think Quinn is going to like the fact that Cliff Kingsbury going to want to drop back 45 times a game and just like Kellen Moore and throw the ball all over the place. I don't think he's going to like that. But You got Echoes, which is going to be pretty decent. But the thing you didn't address, Commanders, and the thing you should have addressed was your offensive line. They did not address the main weakness of their team, and that was their offensive line. That's why they was 4-13 last year, and that's why I don't see them winning but one more game this year. It's because they didn't address the main problem on this team. They got rid of some defensive players. Yeah, you was able to keep what's his name, Scary Terry, Terry McLaurin. He's your veteran wide receiver, and they got a pretty decent tight end. But other than that, you didn't address your offensive line situation. They didn't even really address it during the draft. And so the question now is, you got this young quarterback, you got Cliff Kingsbury. You're going to be relying 90% of the game on your defense. And if they're not creating turnovers, Dan Quinn can't get this defense to create turnovers and get a young cat a short field. This team is going to be always punting. They're going to be 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. Because I don't even think Echoes can. I don't think Echoes can make it a whole season either. Because they're going to be running him. Yeah, they got that one cat that's going to be behind Echoes. But other than that, I don't really see this team doing much until they fix that offensive line problem. So yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Got them winning 6 games. I think they're just a smidge better than the Giants. I think they're dumb enough to start Marcus Mariota at the beginning of the year. I think they're dumb enough to do it. Outside of, Terry McLaurin, which I can't call him Scary Terry. That just seems... it's just a bad nickname. But whatever. Han Dotson and Luke McCaffrey, they don't, you got your number 3 receivers like a rookie out of Rice. What are we doing? So where it's going to come down to is that offensive line and then the running backs. Now, I will say that Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, yes, they're injury prone. Robinson decides to get shot sometimes. But they were both, they were number 31 and 32 for carries last year in the NFL. So even if you do a dual threat with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, you could theoretically get about 1,300 yards and 10 to 12, 13 touchdowns out of the two of them combined. Stay away from them in fantasy, but combined, that's not a bad 1-2 punch. And I think it could end up being a little bit like what happened with Miami last year. You got 2 good running backs. When one gets hurt, the other one pops off. When that one gets hurt, the other one's come back from injury. So they'll both be healthy for about 3 or 4 games. Then it'll be just trading off injuries between the two for the rest of the year. But I don't think you're really getting a big drop off if you lose one of those running backs and you got to go to the other one. Now, if you got to go to Chris Rodriguez Jr., I don't know what to tell you, because that sounds like a substitute math teacher if I've ever heard of it. I don't know what to tell you with Rodriguez, but I got him going 6 just because you look at the schedule, man. I got him all. I already told you, I got him beating the Giants. I'm not sold on Arizona. I think that's going to be a win for them. Carolina, I'm just pretty much picking everyone to beat Carolina at this point. And then Tennessee, New Orleans, that's 4 right there. I think they can squeeze a couple out. I think there's a little bit better than the Giants, but it doesn't mean much. They're still dog shit. Don't get me wrong.
All right, I have got the Commanders going 7-10. I went generous here, give them an extra win. I really like Jaden Daniels. I think that he's going to be a good fit for the Commanders. It's going to be a weird year, his rookie year here, because there's, they're in a transition period and new coaching staff, him adjusting just to the NFL game in general, combined with all these other new elements. Commanders are going to be a strange team, but I do think they'll give enough for Commanders fans to be like, okay, we've got something here, at least in a franchise quarterback.
Right.
We still got to get the O-line together, got to get some better weapons offensively, but they'll be setting up the foundation, at least, with this team. As far as wins go, to make note of, sorry, but I can't see them winning the opener in Tampa. Tampa that credit. I do think that they can beat, they'll beat the Giants week 2. That'll be their first dub. I've got them beating Deshaun Watson and the Browns in week 5. Panthers, Bears, I got them scooping those wins up. I even have them beating the Steelers at home week 10.
Wow.
I've got a couple kind of bigger wins in here for them that will give Commanders fans some satisfaction and show that they can beat good teams in the regular season. So Commanders fans, it will not be as bad of a year as you had last year, at least in my opinion. Nestor.
Yeah, I got them at 7 and 10 too. Notable wins would be against Philly, week 16. You remember that when they were
I do remember that.
undefeated? Was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Knocked them off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Monday night.
I also got them losing week 1 though against Tampa, but yeah, they'll have some good wins. I feel like they managed to keep their Scary Terry. Milan loves that nickname. Austin Eckler, pretty good running back. I think Brian Robinson's pretty good if he can just stay more fit. I get the suspicion that maybe Jaden Daniels is going to get injured just because he's new. June's right. That offensive line is
Sus.
yeah, it's very sus, and they don't seem very healthy. So that's going to be a big problem, and I think I can already picture it. Marcus Mariota passing the ball so many times. I could just picture that, man. I see it already. So that's going to be a problem. But it sucks because they don't have a bad roster. They don't have a bad team. They have their guys. They're decent. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully you can stay healthy, Jaden Daniels.
The last time that Washington had a dual threat Heisman winning quarterback, they ruined his career year 1 by running him too damn much. So hopefully Washington can learn from the mistakes of that. But let's not forget the fact that Washington is already starting the year with an L, Jalen. Already starting the year with an L. How many teams do you know of that the company that has the naming rights to your stadium ends the deal 2 years early because they don't want to be associated with your scrub-ass team anymore? FedEx ended their naming rights deal 2 years early. They're already taking FedEx off the stadium, and they don't have anybody else. Like, nobody else is jumping and chomping at the bit to be like, put my name on that trash-ass stadium and organization. So, yeah, you're already starting the year with an L, man. You're already losing money. FedEx is like, I know you're going to pay us a lot of money next 2 years. We would rather not have it and disassociate ourselves from it.
Yeah.
So,
I thought Malin was going to talk about the fact they lost Antonio Gibson. I mean, I'm sure you're happy about getting him on your team. Dude can ball. Antonio Gibson, man.
Well, yeah, and then they lost that other tight end too. Their backup tight end was actually better than their starting tight end. They lost some players on that team.
I remember seeing that dude drop so many balls, and I had him on fantasy because he's promising. The Commanders, Antonio Gibson, he's promising.
Yeah.
You just.
I need to make sure.
Pour some rice.
I need to go back through the last 3 years of Nestor drafting and make sure any pass catcher, tight end or wide receiver, any skill position, don't draft them. Don't draft that person.
I drafted like 3 guys that almost got died.
And if you play in the NFL, watch our draft show in a few weeks.
Where's Trey Lance?
Just know
right now?
Your days are numbered. Your days are numbered if Nestor drafts you. He is a career killer.
This is why I never draft Tua.
Oh, and you want to hear something crazy about the Commanders? I just read this. They lost a starting tackle today.
See?
Oh, already. Way to go.
Right.
They lost a starting tackle.
Well,
Beautiful. Way to go.
God.
Before we go to halftime, I do want to mention that we have a Discord. It is free to join. It is always linked down in the descriptions. Usually the first link in the description. So join our Discord. We are always talking ball in there throughout the week. And yeah, we appreciate it. We do not charge like a lot of other people do. So before we hit the break, June, we want to thank you for joining us for our 200th first half.
Yes, sir.
Much appreciated. June came on. Oh man, what was it?
Last summer?
Off season?
Was it last summer?
Yeah, it was last summer.
I think it was last
I
summer.
had a beard. Yeah, it was. I had a beard. The year before I didn't have a beard.
Yes. So, big shout out to you, man, for always coming through every week. We absolutely love having you on.
Man.
And
yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
God.
We will.
Jalen, you know what we should have shown a tidbit of from our last seasons? Whenever we do the recap where you show us our record predictions versus what the records actually are.
Yes.
And we get to look at some of the dumbass takes we have. We should have shown some of that because there's always some head scratchers. There's always some head scratchers.
And you know what's funny? I was thinking that too. Like, what did I pick last year? I couldn't remember. When I picked the NFC East last year.
My Chargers pick is already going down the toilet with that Herbert plantar fascia injury. God damn it.
I already started making the big board with the predictions we've already made, and just seeing half the NFL already picked, I was like, these aren't looking too hot.
I'm gonna have some head scratchers for sure.
I think the boldest prediction I've made so far has been Miami. I think that's one of the boldest predictions I've made.
Well,
very high.
Mine was the Chargers, and so Jim Harbaugh, he better do something. We know he's not going back to college anytime soon.
Yeah.
1 year suspension in college.
And they need that kid. Was it Lad McConkey? I need that kid to ball out for you, man. Kid needs to ball out this season.
He does. He needs to be the Puka Nakua of this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we will have the one and only G Money. He is going to give us his NFC East predictions. Then we're going to hit some comments, and then we'll finish this thing up with what's up with that. So, the longest show on the internet remains the longest show on the internet. We'll see you guys in about 10 minutes.
Another week.
Purdy is great under pressure. Jordan Love, great under pressure, have the legs to get the first. I just don't think Tua has any of that skill to sense pressure and shift in the pocket and make off-platform throws.
I would probably put him at like 16, 17 because he's a product of the people around him.
Him and Brock Purdy at 13 and 14, I think, are pretty interchangeable.
I have him number 4. I have Sam Howell number 5. I have him at 13 or 14.
By the end of this season, this man could be in the top 10 by the end of this season. If everything goes right and the injuries are lessened, and he can keep these guys for 11, 12, 13 weeks, you may see him get down to that 10th spot, maybe even hit 9. We're just going to have to wait and see what Tua.
Spending $1.5 billion to clean the Seine. That's the river that runs through Paris. So they can swim in it. The day before the triathlon, they're like, hey, this is like swimming in a sewer. This is bad. All of a sudden, the next day, you know what? It's clean. You can swim in it. Yeah, it don't happen like that. If it was polluted
48 hours
on
ago,
freaking
polluted now.
It doesn't all of a sudden become clean and sparkling and everybody's drinking out of it. It's a fucking shithole. And you're making people swim in it. Everybody knew when the Olympics were in Brazil how bad that shit was. This isn't any fucking better. You're swimming in a fucking toilet. Come on, IOC. Come on, France. Do better.
Did you know AFR is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? Click the first link in the description below to listen to the most recent episode of the show.
This is our first episode of 2023. First episode in a studio. Also, Nestor's last episode for quite a while.
Like 6 months.
Physically. He'll join us virtually.
Or 6
but
years.
Are we going to do some international shit?
Hey, you'll be the first person to call in from another country.
That's insane.
Yeah, because our technology is that good.
There you go,
We
folks.
can make that happen.
4 weeks ago, and I needed George Pickens to do something. And he had 1.9 points. You're the starting wide receiver, and you have 1.9 points. I needed 7 points. I needed 7. I needed 7 points, and the man got 1.9.
Shaq, don't spell it. What the?
No.
Hell. Do it.
Ryan doesn't get drunk. I don't know at what point that Kansas City got to being this bad on defense.
You know, you can't hate him with Hopkins.
Oh my god! I'm gonna fucking
You getting paid a lot for going over there?
Tywin,
I mean, he might be
Tywin
doing some
coins.
volunteer work.
If you go to Taiwan, bring your soldering iron. They don't What else we got?
They asked him to bring a soldering iron. How they gonna disrespect us on the TV we made?
To hear you guys, not gonna lie.
How do you not view the Chiefs as a dynasty that's 3 in 5 years?
Is you got to go 3 and 4. The Patriots were a dynasty because they won 3 and 4. The 49ers were a dynasty because they won 4 in the 80s. The Steelers were a dynasty because they won 4 in the 70s. That's just how the NFL has been. He was thrown the ball more than anybody else in the NFL. 181 targets. The next person closest to him on the Dallas Cowboys was Brandon Cooks at 81 touches and he had 54 catches. I'm sorry if you think that volume means that you're great. No, it means we have more opportunity. He's been in 4 playoff games, and he only has 1 career touchdown pass. I'm sorry, does that make you top 5? I don't think so. Jamar Chase last year, 103 catches for a little over 1,000 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns. Damn, that sounds really familiar to what CeeDee Lamb had the year before when Dak Prescott was hurt and Burrow was hurt last year. They perform adequately against each other when their quarterback is healthy, but the Cincinnati Bengals have also had Boyd and Higgins taking up a lot of catches. Cooper Kupp has been historically a better wide receiver, and he was hurt last year. A.J. Brown has been historically a better wide receiver. And if you put Waddle on Dallas right now, he would put up the same stats
Your
as
4
CeeDee Lamb
favorite
did
teams
last
to
year.
win the Super Bowl coming into this season. I've got the Bengals at number 4. Now that Joe Shiesty is back in the mix, he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. The Bengals should always be a contender. Number 3, I've got their division rival in the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have a lot of that same group that they had last year. High-powered offense, the high-powered defense, adding Derrick Henry. Ravens and Lamar Jackson should be right in the mix. Number 2, I've got the Chiefs. The only reason I don't have them at 1 is simply because they're going for a 3-peat, which is extremely hard to do. Not impossible, but very hard. Number 1, I've got the Niners. This is kind of like their last dance, this core group that they have between Kittle, Debo, Brock Purdy. Guys are going to have to get paid, and that group is not going to be able to stay together beyond this year. So I would hope that extremely talented roster that they have is able to win a championship, at least one. So this is kind of the last opportunity. I'm expecting them to get the job done this year. But who are your top 4 preseason favorites to win the Super Bowl?
Bucks fans, my fellow Tampa Indians, I've got 3 questions for you ahead of this season. There's a 7-game stretch within this schedule that contains Atlanta twice, Kansas City, Baltimore, Philly, New Orleans, and San Francisco. Out of those 7 games, how many do you think the Bucks are going to win? Number 2, do you like, love, or hate Baker Mayfield's contract? 3 years, $115 million, about $50 million of that in guarantees. And number 3, do you think that the Bucks are going to win their division for the 4th consecutive year? Tampa Bay, let us know in the comments below.
Washington Commanders fans, 3 questions as we enter preseason. 1, on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you with Dan Quinn as your head coach? Number 2, is Daniels the real thing? Would you rather have Mike Penix? Number 3, when the hell are you going to drop this Commanders bullshit and go back to the Redskins? Let us know.
Fantasy football season is back upon us. Let's just say you have the number 1 overall pick in your draft, hypothetically speaking. Who would you take with the number 1 overall pick this year? Seems like Christian McCaffrey is the overall consensus. I would also be taking McCaffrey, I'm not going to lie. But I want to know from you guys, is there somebody else that you would take with that number 1 overall pick? Let us know below.
All right, Cowboys fans, 3 questions before the regular season starts. Number 1, is this McCarthy's last year? And if so, who do you want to be the next head coach? Belichick? Number 2, who gets paid first? Dak Prescott or CeeDee Lamb? And why? And number 3, what do y'all have to do to get back to at least an NFC Championship game? You let us know in the comments. Oh, and there's a bonus question. Let us know why CeeDee Lamb is not a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Let us know.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Welcome back to the second half of your favorite show on the internet. We've got G Money with us. What's going on, G Money?
And just chilling here. Gotta say, congratulations on 200 shows, man. That's a milestone. It's a milestone in this day and age.
We appreciate that. I gotta thank you gentlemen right here for showing up every single week So that, you guys, is definitely not possible. So, yeah.
And G Money's been around for over 100 of them.
Yeah. He was around at the
Started
100 mark. So
back, I think, around 85 or 90.
sounds about right. Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to all of you guys for making this thing happen. Before we get into the next topic here, we do want to get G Money's predictions for the NFC East. So if you want to go back and let us know what's happening. Oh, that's right.
Have a sip here,
I was
gentlemen.
forgetting something.
Ah.
Cheers.
What are you taking a shot there of, G Money?
Well, since it's the 200th episode, I decided it's Sinatra time.
There you go. See, I almost went Sinatra, but I went with the gold 27.
See,
Almost did Sinatra.
I was tossing up besides that or the Johnny Walker Blue, and I'm like, I think I'll go with Sinatra.
Shit. All right, I got Johnny Walker Blue.
Oh shit! Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. Got some. I still got a little bit of that. Oh, see, I should have taken a shot of the Don Julio 1942 because I still got a shot left. I should have killed that on episode 200.
300.
Yeah, I'm not doing it after all the bourbon I drank. I'm not doing tequila now. Boys. You guys think I can get rowdy with what's up with that and that before?
Yeah.
We don't need to add tequila into the mix.
All right, G Money, let's hear those record predictions.
Alrighty. So, like most of you, I look at Dallas and yeah, they are a 12-5 team. Great during the regular season. In the playoffs, I mean, they just figure out a way to lose. One season it's their offense that can't do a damn thing or does something really stupid at the end of the game. This last season it was their defense. It was like it didn't show up. So 12-5, make the playoffs, get bumped probably in the wild card round. Strangely enough, and because I did these predictions, and this is the second to last set of predictions, I had to look at how I had Philly going against all the other teams that are playing. I had them going 14-3. I don't know if that's possible or not, and obviously I must have been hitting the ganja hard or something to be seeing that 14-3, but you know, that's what I got them. I mean, really, you look at their schedule and you think if they can get the offense going, the defense should be fine. They have a question at center. Running back, I think Barkley's good for probably the first 8 or 9 games before he gets injured. So I got them 14-3. And the Giants. You know, the Giants and the Jets should merge, and then you'd have a winning team. I got the Giants going 4-13.
Oh, that's a hot take.
I mean,
that should actually be considered. That should be considered.
I mean, we all know that Daniel Jones is not a top 20 quarterback. Their O-line is shit. Their defense is suspect. Who the hell knows who's going to run the ball aside from Daniel Jones? They may think Malik Neighbors is a great wide receiver, and he may well be, but not on that team. Go to the Washington Commanders, formerly the Washington Football Club, formerly the Washington Redskins. I've actually got them going 7-10. I mean, they start off rough, but I think halfway through the season they actually start turning around, and they start playing a little better. I think if they can keep Jaden Daniels healthy, and knowing, of course, who the head coach is and who the OC is, I think they will. It's not the Shanahan brothers, or actually father and son, who basically killed RG3. I don't think they're going to kill Jaden Daniels. I don't think that if he's injured or looks injured, I don't think they're gonna run him out there. You know, we need to win this playoff game. Nah, they're not going to the playoffs, but I don't think they're gonna run him out there and get him injured. So I got him going 7-10, and that, my friends, is the NFC East.
Amen.
Alan, I just want to let you know now, I am going to make a video asking if the Giants and Jets combine their rosters, how many wins would they have this year? That was such a great comment, June Money. Oh man.
G Money and I, outside of the Eagles take, we have the same exact records for all these other teams. So
Yeah, I mean, we're all really close on when we look at the
only
East.
like one game off on most of them.
Right.
We're all within one game off. I think we'll look back. We'll have a lot of hiccups in the AFC, but I think the NFC we're nailing right now. I think we're nailing the AFC or the.
We've been pretty,
the NFC.
you know, nothing wild. No wild takes this year. It was last season where, when you kind of look at it, last season.
I don't know. And my Chargers take is going to go down in infamy. Fucking Herbert.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I had the Patriots.
I mean,
I was pretty hopeful about the Patriots last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. Oh, God.
all right, let's move into community comments here. So, folks at home, this is when we go back, through TikTok and Instagram, YouTube comments, and we read some of what you had to say throughout the week, and then we reply to that. So this is just a matter of picking some of the more noteworthy videos. We will say, just to start off, time sensitive, Brandon Ayuk has been all but traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we had 50 people liked the video, but 10 people or 10 comments, folks who are saying that it hasn't happened yet. But shout out to the Man Cave, who says Niners are stupid for doing this. I think he was Big Mike was the only person that actually gave an actual opinion on this instead of the newsworthy.
What was his opinion?
Well, you're just saying Niners are stupid for doing this.
And can we just say, just again, people, that listen, it was reported that they have the framework done. We weren't saying that the trade was done. But I want to thank all 53 people and 10 people that commented that you're proving the point that I'm not sure everybody should have the right to vote because you can't follow simple instructions. But how do I know that you dumbasses are going to take a Scantron and they're in November and do this shit correctly? Like, just answer the fucking
Why are
question.
they so hell-bent on a final confirmation? Well, it's still not a final confirmation. Like, what? Why? Who are you?
Like, just agree or not, we were asking about the ramification, what you thought about it. Like, that's all we were doing. That's it. I'm not
He
Adam
needs to be
Scheffler.
there
We
and
were just
witness
reading shit on social
the
media.
trade in person,
I
the
didn't see
handshake.
him sign that contract. He'd be in the room.
I feel like I need to go into witness protection.
Once ESPN says it, then no.
Dummies. Yes. Let me mention. Alright, so I posed the question a couple days ago. If you have the number one overall pick in your fantasy draft, who are you taking? It seems like the overall consensus right now is C-Mac. So, which
Nah.
I also agreed with. But the comments on TikTok.
He's injured.
Frank,
Yeah, he is.
Frank says.
It is if you take him.
He'll be dead if I take him.
Frank says Tyreek or Chase. Jamar Chase, that's an interesting one. June, he says not taking McCaffrey because you're going to lose him for at least 3 games every season.
That's fair.
I'm
Well,
looking
yes,
at
he's taking CD Lamb.
I'm looking at a
Yes.
few quarterbacks.
Okay, she's a top 5 quarterback, wide receiver.
Dak was the top fantasy quarterback last year, then Lamar. This year, I would take Tua. So June, with his number one
okay.
overall pick, would take Tua.
He's doing some reverse psychology. He's trying to end the Dolphins' chance.
Apple Drink says CMC, not a second thought. Drinks on Me says Cheetah, CD, CMC, barring injury, all 3 are solid number 1 picks. Kev says Tyreek. Chris says CMC is just too good to pass him right now. Mike Riz says, I'm taking Lamb. I took C-Mac in a couple drafts, but don't get me wrong. I think Lamb scores more points this year. Yeah, and then basically more CMC and Tyreek.
I don't think you go wrong with either of those two.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, even if you end up missing a couple games, that's going to be a really solid first round pick. I would not go CD though.
I would take CD. I can't take Tyreek Hill.
Do, Nestor. I hope you do. I hope you take CD.
ACL injury. Cowboy season over.
I hope you get the number 1 pick and you take CD Lamb.
I would. I definitely will.
All right, let's get to some more kind of heady ones here. So, I took the clip from last week where Malin explained why he does not think that the Chiefs are a dynasty.
Damn.
And
they hate me on this one too, don't they?
People really did not like this. All right, let's start with Slivs. Is your name? People really jumping through flaming hoops just to not give the Chiefs the credit they deserve. And then someone replied to him and said, refs really jumping through hoops trying to get them that credit, though. And then there was an argument. Macon Fudge says, the goalpost moving is insane. I remember when people said the Chiefs had to win 3, now it's 4. Jaden says, anything over 2 in 5 years is pretty close to a dynasty. Odd Orbit says, the Pats won 3 and 4, but then proceeded not to win another in 10 years. Let's skip down a few here.
And can I say one qualifying thing, Jalen? I want you guys to name one dynasty in the NFL that lost a Super Bowl in the midst of that dynasty era that they had.
That's valid.
Name me one. Yep. It lost a Super Bowl in the time frame in which we're calling them a dynasty. That's why the goalpost moves to 4. Because you lost that one. You would have had 3 in 4 years. You would have been a dynasty, but you lost a Super Bowl. Name another dynasty that's lost one in the midst of that dynasty era. There's not one. Oh, yeah.
When they do that, they actually end up like not winning a Super Bowl for quite a long time.
Well, and good on Chiefs for doing it, and that's why I'm saying if they win another one, you can negate that Super Bowl loss.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But nobody is using like the New England Patriots have 2 dynasties, right? Right. But that's after the fact that they lost the 2 to the Giants. Those years, even when they went undefeated, those years are not included in those dynasty runs.
Right.
It started in 2001, and then it started in 2014. So you don't have dynasties that lose a Super Bowl in the middle of it. So, yeah, you need one more.
All right. And then I'll do one more here. This is your explanation to why CeeDee Lamb is not a top 5 wide receiver. I feel like we've been talking about CeeDee Lamb for a month straight on this show.
Public enemy number 1 here.
Let's go. All right, to P with the shifts. He says saying CeeDee Lamb isn't top 5 is like saying Jerry Rice isn't a top 5 wide receiver.
We're comparing CD Lamb to Jerry Rice.
I will say
That's what we're doing.
Nate, he replied to him, and he basically said the same thing that you're saying, man. That's not the same ballpark.
Ow.
All right. Tyson says, meanwhile, JJ putting up 1,000 yards with Nick Mullins. James for real says, there's a reason he gets the ball more than anybody else in the league.
They don't have anybody else.
Fleur Dog says, I'm sorry, or he's quoting, I'm sorry if you think volume means you're great. Bro is on to nothing.
What?
Thanks, bro.
Okay, hey, do you guys remember when Wes Welker led the league in catches?
Right.
Was he an all-time great? Are we comparing Wes Welker to Jerry Rice? Shut up.
Logan says 3 out of 10 rage bait. Joe says Mike's should be $10,000. Doug Stewart, worst take I've heard in a while. I assure you it's not. 1 of 1. This is the funny one. I'm tired of all these randoms just making podcasts to say dumb shit like this.
Malin actually doesn't have bad takes. And these are the comments. You imagine bad takes. These are not like bad points. These are great
A
points.
little bit controversial, I get, because maybe I could understand some people putting him in the top 5. I don't have him in my top 5. He's easily like in the top 7 or 8 right now. It's not like I'm saying he's a top 20 wide receiver
exactly.
in the NFL. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, people.
You put email there, you get hit like threats. Death threats.
Someone did basically just say what you just said. I think it was in the original video, but they were like, "People, please calm down." He's not like he's calling him trash. Like, Lord have mercy.
Jesus, it's wild, man. All these Dallas fans, man, pay your taxes first. Like, get off of welfare before you come in here commenting at me. All right, buy some shorts that go above the knee. All right, do that. Pay your child support. Get off the government cheese, and then you can comment. All right, Dallas fans.
Get out of the trailer park. I mean, damn.
Jesus Christ.
And by the way, if you want to make your own podcast, you can do that whenever you want. There's no rhyme or reason to not to.
Yeah, someone could go out there and start the, I Hate Malin's Takes podcast. Do it.
Yeah.
Give a shit. I'll listen.
Just disagree with everything Malin says. Go right ahead.
I get it because I make videos and people are like, "I hate your soul." Like, you have 3 followers. Yeah, I have 3 followers. Your mom, your sister, and your daughter. Great, big fans of the show.
This is like one of them wanted me to impregnate him, and it wasn't your sister. So I mean, I don't know.
You can hand out green cards here.
Oh my god. Dallas fans.
TikTok.
Yes, TikTok is undefeated. And there's a reason this app is trying to get banned every year.
Yep.
He's had over 100 catches twice. He's had over double-digit touchdowns once. I mean, and last year came with an offense where Dak was playing out of his mind. And who else? Who was the number 2 receiver?
I can't even think about.
Who was?
I only know their tight end. Jake Ferguson? Their tight end?
Maybe.
I only know their tight end. I can't think of another receiver.
Pollard was your running back. Like, that team was so one-dimensional.
Yeah,
it's not okay. Now here's the thing. If he was like Randy Moss, putting up those numbers like Randy Moss did with Chris Carter was on the other side of the ball, because Randy Moss was putting up baller numbers his first 4 or 5 years in the league.
Yeah.
And Chris Carter was on the other side of the ball for at least 1 or 2 of those his rookie and his sophomore year. And Randy Moss was still putting up stats year 1. year one. So the fact that it takes you 4 years to have a year like this, I'm sorry if I'm not completely sold. I mean, go ahead and crucify me, like hang me upside down,
Gallup and
put me on that drag queen table at the Paris Olympic opening.
Who
That's
the
a good
fuck are these people? I'm looking at the depth chart. Who the?
I feel like Gallup and Cooks get a target like once a month.
What?
So, I mean, who else was Dak supposed to throw the ball to?
Apparently, Cam Johnson.
And let's not act like Jerry Rice did not. Jerry Rice was putting up numbers when John Taylor was his number 2, and let's not act like John Taylor was a slouch when it came to that 49ers offense. Like there was, and Roger Craig was a baller running back. Then they had Ricky Waters, Garrison Hurst. I mean, there was always other people. I mean, Jerry Rice was still putting up numbers when Terrell Owens was the number 2 receiver. Jerry Rice was putting up great numbers when he was with the Raiders with Tim Brown. Like, let's stop it. Like, it's one dimensional. I'm sorry. Like, that's why I made the volume take that I did about you led the league in targets for a reason. Nobody else could you throw the ball to. So you better have 135 catches on 181 targets.
All right, let's get into what's up with that. And for those who are not in our social media at all, have no idea what the hell we're talking about, at AFR Sports on TikTok and Instagram. But to be honest, maybe you should keep it that way and just don't even bother. I'm missing out on too much at this point.
Or, just keep hating on everything I say. That's fine. We're getting clicks. I don't give a shit. I'm living rent free in y'all fuckers' heads.
Right, exactly.
So, your guys' life is so fucking bad that you're scrolling through TikTok and I'm making you so mad you got to comment. So, do what you do. I'd rather you put your hate on me instead of smacking your kids around, all right? But you probably don't even have your kids. So.
Let's go to the last segment of the week, which is what's up with that. This is where we each air out agreements we have within the world of sports from this week. And let's go to G Money
football
first
segment
to kick off.
Sorry, segments.
Yeah. So, going back to the fucking Olympics and the Seine River. The fuck? So, the Belgian mixed triathlon team had to pull out because one of the members was sick. Sick? Why? Because they swam in that fucking shit river.
You got E. coli.
He probably had yes, E. coli. I mean, listen. It's either clean or it's not. And it can't be clean in 24, 48, 72 hours. Can't be. That's a fact. So, how about doing something else? How about even thinking? I don't know where you were thinking that, you know what, we can clean this river. We can get it ready for the Olympics. No, you fucking couldn't. And dumping wine in it didn't make it clean, just like how you cook your food. You cook rotted meat and then put wine on top of it and go, ooh, look, it's good. No, it's fucking not.
As soon as I saw that, like yesterday, that people were getting sick for swimming in there, I was like, "Oh, I know what G Money is. What's up with that?"
Videos of people puking at the end of that triathlon, just throwing up whatever the fuck was in there.
That river is beautiful if you don't look down. If you look,
if you just
if you don't actually look at the water,
don't look at the water.
If you look at the sky.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, man, that river is beautiful.
Jesus Christ.
Mainly, go ahead.
Okay, I actually have two, but I'll try to be quick here. One is my Seattle Seahawks. I get that Mike Macdonald's the new coach. I get he's defensive minded. I get that he's more physical in practice right now. Why are we having 5 fights in one practice? And I'm not even talking about like just little skirmishes where we're pushing each other. At one point, Trey Brown took the helmet off of one of our wide receivers and punched him in the face. Okay? There's another one where DK Metcalf threw a helmet at Trey Brown. Now I don't know if he took Trey Brown's helmet off of him and did a Myles Garrett on Mason Rudolph kind of a thing where he just swung at him. But 5 fights where punches were thrown, helmets are being tossed at people. That's too much. Like, we're gonna get fined, and what it's gonna cost us is next offseason we're gonna have penalties on our OTAs and our mini camps and our training camp on things we can or can't do, because that happened under Pete Carroll. A lot of people are talking about how Pete Carroll was too soft in practice and stuff like that. People forget that Pete Carroll was fined 2 years in a row for having too physical of practices. And so the same thing is going to happen here. 5 fights is too much. We can't be throwing helmets at people. We can't be taking off helmets and punching people. And the fact that Trey Brown was in the middle of 2 or 3 of them, calm the fuck down, sir. Calm the fuck down. So that's my first one.
Common denominator.
Second is, Jalen and I had the prestigious opportunity, and when I say prestigious, it really wasn't. It's kind of like getting jury duty, except we paid $10 to do it. We went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers training camp, and the one thing I saw that was beautiful was Baker Mayfield throwing a pick six, and Bucs fans cheering about it. That was cute. I get that, like, a pick six, like, I get that you're cheering, like, oh, the defense did something. When you can't hit nobody, you shouldn't be cheering that. Baker Mayfield, that was a terrible fucking ball, man. Beyond that, just the anarchy of the whole goddamn thing.
I saw the video of the kids.
They do this thing where they line these kids up on the field.
Yeah.
And then whoever wants to sign autographs can go, and they start going in a line, man. And Jen and I were standing where a bunch of the parents were of the kids that were out on the field. And if this is just not, I swear to God, there were kids crying, there were adults yelling profanities. Like, they were trying to get the kids off the field, and the parents were like, no, get the fuck back out there and get Mike Evans' autograph. Like, parents were traumatizing their kids because the dads wanted Mike Evans' autograph so bad that the staff was trying to get the kids off the field, and the parents were telling them to get back on the goddamn field and get that fucking autograph.
You go get that fucking
We're doing a bang up job in Tampa on teaching people to respect
Poor
their
Mike
elders
Evans.
and listening to direction.
Poor guy.
Like, these are the same types of kids that are going to be throwing school books at teachers.
Was it
okay?
really there the whole?
Why? Because Daddy wanted an autograph is what we're doing. There was one mom, or maybe it was a grandma, the Karen of the most Karens, where she was just like, I don't give a fuck what they told you. You get back out there and you get that autograph.
These are all Buffalo Bills fans.
There was one dad. He was about 6'2", 330, sweaty as shit, balding. His little girl was crying because she was wanting to get off the field because they were telling her to get off the field, and he was like, no, bitch, get back out there and get that fucking autograph. And she never got it, and he was like scolding her on the other side of the fence.
God.
He was like,
Poor
you
kid.
listen to me when I tell you.
Oh my God.
And so as Jalen and I are leaving,
No.
you have these grown ass men screaming for autographs, which is sad in and of itself. And you have kids crying, kids that are happy. Aaron and I were just laughing the entire fucking time. There was someone that was mad that there was a little group of kids that were getting autographs from one people, and I was like, those are Make-A-Wish kids, man. They don't get to come out for another training camp. They're gonna die unless they made a pick for the Giants a few years ago. Outside of that, they're probably not gonna see another training camp. Like, why are you mad at them? So Bucs fans, you're exactly who I thought you were. You're traumatizing little kids. You're making the staff's life harder. Mike Evans probably got fucking heat stroke out there trying to sign all the autographs that he did. It was just, it was a shit show, and it was hilarious, and I'm glad that I got to see it. It was worth the $10 of admission.
Yeah, it was a good time, and that was the most entertaining part by far. My what's up with that? Briefly, I do want to mention after all the kids and like the field was kind of clearing out and everybody was getting off the field, I thought it was very ironic that there was this woman that came off the field who had her body clearly very done body, and she was wearing a Bucks like a visor. I mean, she had 52 signatures on that visor. She had everybody's signature, and I was like, interesting.
And when we say done, I mean like there might have been like if you think of the word double D, it makes sense. And nobody was shushing her off the field.
No, it was like
she got every damn autograph. She got every autograph she wanted. I think Mike Evans posed for like 4 pictures with her. Baker Mayfield was looking for her. He didn't get to sign her hat. It's crazy.
So yeah, there was that, and my main one is just the fact that can people in the comments, and this branches beyond our comments. I just noticed this seemingly everywhere. Can people get more creative in how they comment? Because it just seems like I'm seeing the same 2 people comment on everything. Why does everybody just start off with the word bro, or bro is going to do X, Y, and Z? Like, can we do better as men? Let's get more unique in our comments, because it's just this. It's like reading the same comment 52 times.
And can we answer the fucking question?
Yeah, well, now you're asking for a lot now.
If there's a question to be had, like, why does everybody have to go off script and say something and give information that nobody's asking?
Right. Yes. And folks, people are allowed to just have an opinion. If someone wants to give their top 5 list in the comments, you don't gotta go attack them for just who they think is the best. Like, you could just name yours and leave it at that.
Jalen, one more thing about Bucks fans. This is just the icing on the cake. When we were leaving, there were workers telling people where to go to exit. And half the people were like, fuck you, I'm going to go over here and exit. And they're like, listen, you can do what you want. They're going to turn you around. If you want to walk more, walk more. But the amount of people that wouldn't even listen to simple, hang a right and you can get to the exit. And they're like, nah, bitch, I'm going this way. And that wasn't an exit. Right. That was hilarious to me. There was like 5 people with signs politely. And people were like telling them to fuck off.
I know. Get out of my way.
They're like, listen, man. They're like, if you want to get more steps in, dog, get it. But you're going to come back. You're going to see me on a round trip, and you're going to go where I told you should go.
From New York. All from New York.
It's so great. All right, Nestor. Go ahead.
My what's up with that is, so me and my wife were watching the Olympics on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's completely disorganized. So if you want to watch who's winning what, you just kind of have to dig through and research kind of thing. But I did find out that Noah Lyles won the gold medal, the 100 meters.
Huh.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a good race.
I will back up anybody from the U.S. Anybody with any take, I will back him up. Why are we having so many people from the U.S. hating on this man when he might have done U.S. basketball a favor? Because with just those simple words, he might have just pretty much got the Avengers together, and now they're probably going to win gold because LeBron's going off.
Okay.
Right.
So he's not. He doesn't seem to me like arrogant. I've seen arrogant in some athletes. Yeah. He doesn't seem arrogant. He just seems like a guy who's, I'm here. I'm gonna win this shit. Like, fuck what you think. And I don't think that. To me, I don't think that's arrogant. I've seen more levels of arrogance than that. I'm happy for him. I'm happy he won gold. Second little take, because I have to go to that because I just remembered it. Simone Biles is the best gymnast of all time. And the amount of hate this woman is getting because of her husband, just because he said,
when he was wearing her gold medal.
Yes, The amount of hate this man
And they
is getting.
and all these women lost their fucking minds. You take that off, you didn't earn that shit. And Simone Biles had to go on Instagram and be like, "Calm down. I put it around his neck. I put it around all my family members' neck. Calm the fuck down."
The goat of this sport, and you guys are just like, I don't like your husband. Fuck you. Like, what?
Oh,
What are you doing?
and they were giving her shit about her hair. Where she had a comment, she was like, "Listen, if at any point in your life you want to comment on a black woman's hair, just don't. I love that. Just don't do it."
I'm appalled by this woman's like you're witnessing history,
Right,
and you're focusing on this. Like, I'm done with social media.
Two other things real quick about the Olympics, Dylan. I swear to God, I'll shut up. One, Australia. Shut up, man. I get it that you're trying to get press and you're trying to seem cool because you're trying to compare yourself to Americans. And at one point, y'all started making videos about how you were beating us in gold medals because of swimming. And now I think you have like 12 gold medals and we have like 27. Like, shut up. Like, you're not on our level. We don't even care about you. We weren't Britain. Like, we weren't treating like you weren't under our empire rule. We weren't sending criminals down there. Why do you hate us, for God fucking sakes? Like we're making your economy better. With the shit that we export into your godforsaken fucking country, where everything that you live around wants to kill you. So just shut up and understand that you're Australia and no one really gives a shit about you. So y'all can just shut up. And second, how the fuck did China win the gold in weightlifting in men's and women's? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every time I see someone from China, they're the smallest fucking people I've ever seen in my life. Where did these two people come from, and what are they feeding them? Because I want to get on that regiment. Because they're the largest people from China I've ever seen in my life. Someone needs to drug test them. The gold in weightlifting, China. Who saw that happening? I didn't. That was wild. That was fucking wild.
Well, another week of what's up with that. Well, they are always interesting. Never fail there. Folks, that's going to do it for episode 200. 200 real ones down, and hey, we've got another 200 in us. I would like to think.
Yeah, I haven't got us canceled yet, so
Exactly.
Got a shot.
But that's going to do it. Anything else you guys want to mention before we bring this to a close? All right.
Super good.
Folks at home, we will see you all for 201. It's kind of weird to say. And yeah, have a great week. We're that much closer to NFL kicking off. I think we're 30 days tomorrow. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We will see you all next Wednesday. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.